Hello and welcome to Basement Fodder, the only show whose hosts will root for you and take you time traveling. I'm Todd.
I'm Dave. We're going on an adventure.
We're going on an adventure. Here, smell this.
Yeah. We're going on an adventure. Smell this. Ooh. Smells like.
Well, if anyone else, any of the rest of you have already watched The Legends of Tomorrow, you know what we're talking about in that one.
Yeah.
But we'll get into that in a little bit. But how was your week, sir?
It was good. A lot of school, and then work. Got work coming up.
Work in the morning.
And the potential, supposedly, blizzard, not blizzard.
Fuck your blizzard.
Knows what's going on,
Yeah, I'm sorry, Tabby, but fuck your blizzard.
Yeah. We, the driving public who don't have to stay at home with kids for, all day long, don't want there to be a blizzard that we, the driving public, have to go in.
Also, if you're going to give me a blizzard, give it to me during the week so it doesn't piss on my weekend at all. Because I got shit
for
to
me,
do.
this is my week.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's like, hey, if it is going to piss on me, alright, that's cool. Not really fucking, you don't have to go to work. Okay, that's cool.
We had a birthday party on Sunday.
Yeah.
For the basement baby. She turned 9. And I said, honey, where do you want to have your birthday party this year? And what did she say?
She wanted to have it at church.
I was like, what now? But then when I figured it out. It's like every year we have it at a different place. Like last 2 years it was at this Grater's ice cream place that's out in Dublin.
Yeah. Before then it was Chuck E. Cheese.
And before that, Chuck E. Cheese. And neither one of those are more than 20 minutes away from here.
Yeah.
But for some fucking reason, and I don't know why this is, but none of her little friends' parents want to fucking drive to take their kids to these parties.
Yeah.
And so we get dick turnout. Yeah,
one
for
or
kids.
two. It'd be mostly a bunch of us older people.
Yeah, a lot of times it's like my mom's taking them and stuff instead. And I was like, what the fuck, man? Come on, that's kind of Jewish. Take your damn kid to a fucking Chuck E. Cheese birthday party, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
I don't know, Logan. I don't know if Logan ever actually gets invited to them, but if she did, I'd probably figure out some way to get her there.
Yeah.
But so I think the reason that she wants to have it at the church is so her little friends, from kids' church and stuff, because she goes to church with my parents, would actually come, and that actually did happen. This is the most kids we ever had at one of her parties. I think there was eight or 9 little girls there, and one very sad little boy.
It was like, why am I here with a bunch of girls?
He was some little girl's brother that was there.
Why would you drag?
He looked so pissed. And luckily I had bought, on the way over there, I'd stopped to get the cake at the Kroger's. My mom had ordered a frozen cake for her.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Which she loved. But they had, on the clearancey thing, they had these little coloring, Avengers and Marvel coloring pages and markers and stuff. And they had those little tumblers I buy all the time, little plastic, dollar tumblers, but they were 50 cents.
Oh, yeah.
And so I bought a couple of those, anticipating, because I knew our buddy Tyson, he's going to bring his son.
Yeah.
So there was at least going to be one boy there, but I bought an extra one just in case.
You're somehow.
Yeah, and so I gave him a little cup, and that seemed to, make him happy for about 30 seconds, but he was pretty belligerent. He was just and they were we were you can go sit with the little girls at the table, and he was like, nah, pass on that. He was probably 4. He was like, fuck you.
Yeah, I'm 4, and you want me to go sit at a table with a bunch of 8-year-old girls,
But it was just a pink storm of hell. They were just all over the place with their little princess crowns and shit on. And thankfully for you, you had to work and didn't have to be involved in that shenanigans. But our friend Sandy was there, and Victoria, the basement babe, was there, and she was just enjoying watching the children do their thing and stuff. And so, it was in this little room that was... it's their cafe or whatever where they, have their kitchen and shit. And so my mom and I set up and put tables in there and stuff. And we were also celebrating my stepdad's birthday, which is his birthday is the day before my daughter's.
Yeah.
And so we're, having a good time celebrating or whatever. And the party winds down, and she got belligerent amount of presents, and mostly because I overbought like crazy. And I really didn't. I didn't realize I did it though.
You do it all the time.
I know.
Because you're out and you're like, oh hey, this.
Because all the stuff it didn't cost anything. Because it's I bought a lot of stuff in that after Christmas clearance.
Yeah.
It's all these little lip glossies and all this little shit for girls and stuff, and it's it costs $1 each, so it doesn't seem like much.
Yeah.
But by the end of it, it's she's got 14, more than that. She probably had 20 presents.
Yeah.
And then all the presents that she got from my parents and all that shit. And it winds down, and we're just kind of sitting around. All the little girls have gone except for my kid, and then Tyson. He actually didn't get there for the party because he stopped to help somebody because they had a dead battery, and it ended up being like a 40-minute ordeal. Yeah. So he didn't get there till the end, and so his son was there, and then Sandy and Scott's kid, Veronica, the little baby, she's like a little over a year old. She was there, and there's this big room like off of there where they it's like a big kind of rec room kind of thing, like huge. They have basketball hoops in there, except for it has carpet, which is weird. Like it wasn't intended to be a basketball court or anything, but they play basketball in there
on carpet.
On carpet, yeah, it's weird. I know, right?
How
like that very fit, like it's like that office building carpet. Like it's not carpet that has like it's awkward, but it's still like the ball bounces. So the kids are in there and they got those blue mats like you find at school and shit, and they're rolling around and making tents making forts and tents and shit. And so I walk in there, and my sister, who's 15 and a big tall girl, she's in there shooting basketball, and she sucks. I'm sorry, I love her, but she sucks, and she'll tell you she sucks too. Like,
yeah,
she's awful. I was like, Lee, why aren't you playing basketball? She's like, I suck at it. And I was like, why don't you activate your black gene?
Like, wow. She stop, wait, think about it, remember, and then go.
As most of you guys know, my stepdad is black and my sister is mixed and stuff, so we always make little jokes about blackness and stuff. Like, my dad always be like, he looks just like me, talking about me, and I'm like, except for your tan is better than mine.
Yeah.
And I was like, why don't you activate your black genes? And my dad like spit his pop and was laughing his ass off. She's like, I don't know how to do that.
I haven't gotten to that point where I established this.
So the only people in the room are like the little kids over playing, and Sandy's over there sitting with them, and my sister is in there, and my dad and everybody else is cleaning up because like I dipped out of the cleaning process because I'm the one that set everything up.
Yeah.
And so
I did all the beginnings.
My sister gives me the basketball, and I'm like, I haven't played basketball in 15 years, like, unless you're counting like Chuck E. Cheese where I'm shooting the ball, at the little hoop or whatever.
No.
So I'm like, oh yeah, this is cool or whatever. And the net was kind of low. It was probably like 10 feet instead of the, like the regulation or whatever. And so I don't know why, but I like forgot that I was old, crippled, and fat for like a second.
You're like, no, I got this.
And I was like, oh, I'm gonna jump up. Yeah, I'm gonna jump up and touch the bottom of the net. I wasn't trying to touch the rim. I was just like, oh, I'm just gonna tap the bottom of the net. You know how you do. So I proceeded to do the slowest run in history, obviously, because I'm old, fat, and slow, and crippled. And so I jumped and I touched the net, and I was like, yeah. And then the second my feet hit the floor, my knees just buckled.
Like, and like this is what.
And according to my dad, I did the slowest fall and roll he's ever seen. It was just like it was like watching it in slow motion. It was like, and so I end up like flat out on my back, like arms and legs spread out, and I'm like, why? And so Tyson's son, who's like 4. He comes running over, and like my legs are all splayed out, and he like lays in between my legs and splays himself out like he's mocking me. He's like, look, I'm like you. And I sit up, and like Sandy, even though she was in there, she didn't look up until I was already on the ground, and she was like, oh my God, what the hell happened to you? And I was like, oh, thank God no one saw this. And I was thinking, like, I can't not tell you about this. Like part of me was like, he'll mock me vociferously forever, but I can't not tell you.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's just too good.
Yeah, I've done that stuff before where you're like, this is going to be good. Scorpion! You're like, oh. You're like, oh. You're getting up. You're like, I hurt, but I need to make sure that not enough people saw this. And you're doing that because, like, all blood flow stops at the collarbone. You feel like your head's about to explode because you're just like,
I'm so embarrassed right now.
I'm not worried about breathing properly. I just need to make sure that only at least 3 people saw that.
I can't believe I didn't like do myself serious damage. The funny thing is, there's no way I made it more than like.
It's because you did it at like negative Mach speeds. You was just like. It's like It's like, I think Jim Carrey's doing this thing. And the little kids are like, what's wrong with that guy? I don't know. He's acting weird.
I was like thinking be like Mike, but my body was like Michael Clark Duncan.
Be like Mick Foley? What?
It was too. It was a very like I did like a tuck and roll. Like, my momentum like made me roll like 6 times. There's no way I could have got more than like 6 inches off the ground.
Yeah,
this is me jumping.
Yeah.
Even with momentum, there's no. I mean, I did touch the net, but you got to figure if it's only 10 feet and I'm like a little over 6 foot tall, reaching up, I was damn near touching it with my arm span, so they were just enough to swish and then. So I was sufficiently embarrassed, and thank God I didn't ask myself completely. But then after that, for some reason, again, forgetting that I'm old, fat, and crippled, I played basketball with Ty and my sister for like a good half an hour until I was just boiling and sweating and like profusely everywhere. And the funny thing was I was shooting better than both of them.
Oh, yeah.
And they're both black. And I love them both, like, seriously. But Tyson was like, what the hell is wrong with me? This fat white guy's showing me up.
I can tell you the reason why. Because somebody else hasn't exactly activated their genes since, I don't know, they came out the womb.
Yeah, I seriously hope this doesn't sound like racist or anything to anybody, because I've been part of a mixed race family for so long that these jokes don't really register as bad to me anymore. So please, and please don't be offended by it. It's not meant in any way. I love my family very much.
I would say he activated his like pretty fly for a white guy genes, but that's about as close as he's gotten to it. Like,
but we had a good time, and she had a blast. Like, it was the happiest I've seen her at her birthday party. Because the sad thing is, usually because we try to have it at these fun places, and then these motherfuckers won't show up.
And then it's you and I trying to climb on things. Like, come on, Logan, have fun.
Me and you trying to climb on the giant fucking ice cream cone or whatever.
Oh, I broke something. Oh.
We're trying to climb the giant ice cream cone, or like fucking trying to do the banana like teeter-totter and rack up my balls off like last year.
She'll get like one laugh of like self-degradation, like pain off one of us, and then that's it. Like, and we're all like,
this sucks.
She's like, okay, that was fun. And we're both like, oh, I need aspirin, gay, and it all hurts.
Please, someone bring me some Tiger Balm.
I need an 80-pound Asian woman to rub me down. It hurts. Where? Everywhere your hands can touch.
I feel like all I've been doing is podcasting this week.
It's because you literally have been just podcasting.
Recorded like 3 shows since Saturday.
Yeah.
I recorded the Saturday show with Michelle and...
you have been hooring pretty strong on that podcast.
No, 4 podcasts. With Michelle and Stephanie on the Saturday night Todd File show. And then I recorded two Todd Files this week. One with King Chan and one with Sal Otero. Yeah. And then I did a Geek Dig show with Clint and Bob Sally this week too. So... It's like I can't get my ass off the microphone for more than a day.
That's right. That was funny though, because both the girls during that show didn't realize that
that was the best part.
That was the best part. I live in the basement of Doom. Like the basement of Doom is my domicile. Mm-hmm. Like, so they didn't realize that, and people were getting loud and giggly, and I'm like, hey.
In an effort to be helpful, though, like, I bought headphones, right? And I thought, like, in order to block out a lot of the noise, because I'm always editing or doing something, like, I bought these big, noise muffling headphones for me, and, like, I'll be sitting here, doing the thing, muffling out, like, so I don't realize shit is loud, but then also I can't control the volume of my voice because of this.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like...
so for you, you're like, shut the fuck up, fat ass.
I was like, hey, man, not trying to be a dick and all, but could you, like, I don't know, shut the fuck up, because I got school in the morning, like, really early in the morning. And then they're like, what? And then it's like that.
I just remember Stephanie was like, is Dave just, like, sitting there watching you do this? And I was like, no. He lives down here. He's on the other side of a curtain. Yeah. Like Greg Brady,
Yeah. Partition. That was a grand realization. And if both you hussies don't keep it down, come out there, Start smacking.
Only hussies have piercings and tattoos.
That's right. Only pussies have piercings and tattoos. I want both of you girls to go sit in the corner and think about that.
I just want both of them.
In a corner, thinking about it in a very physical way. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to be in that corner too. Greatest three-way ever. But anyway, no, I've had a lot of fun. Like, you lucked out and were gone for the other ones that I've had to record pretty much, except for Geek Dig, which, oh god. Actually, I recorded 2 Geek Digs this week. That's right, because I recorded the one with Ben Miller too. Fuck me, I've literally recorded like 6 podcasts this week.
That's right.
Yes. Lauren! And thanks to Clint, at least 2 of them have been 2 hours long. I'm like, hey buddy, I know we're having fun, but can we like keep it under the 4-hour limit? I actually said that one before we recorded with Bob. I was like, do you think we can keep this one like around an hour? That'd be great.
Just kind of need you to
I haven't seen my wife in 3 days. I haven't seen my kid in 4.
I forgot what my child looks like. I think she had a birthday. I don't know.
I don't even know anymore.
I'm just going to start like standing behind you with like a thing like, wrap it up, B.
I'm going to find like a clip of that music that they play at award shows to get people. All right, buddy.
What the shit? Yeah, it's the wrap it up song. Come on.
No, it's been a good week though. Like, it's the curse of, I guess, popularity in some weird respect.
Yeah.
There haven't been as many horrible deaths this week as there were last week. I have to laugh about it, but it's true.
Yeah, so they'll make up for it with incessant, like, podcasting. Like, you must podcast. People are dying, you must podcast.
Been doing nothing but, like, sculpting, painting, and podcasting, which, you know, that's awesome. There's a lot of worse things I could be doing.
I've been driving, studying, and stroking. I mean, that's pretty much...
Stroking!
And you know what? Really not even stroking. That's like, in my dream, I'm like, you know what would be nice? If I could do this, but I'm so tired from school.
God, I wish I had the strength for that.
Yeah, I'm a college kid that doesn't have the energy to jerk off. Oh, shit.
I was like, I could, but then there's sleeping.
Yeah, I was like, jerk off, sleep. Maybe if I wake up early enough before no.
You gotta be careful, because if you go to sleep with your dick in your hand, then that alarm comes up and scares you. You rip your dick off.
No, like, I've never had that problem. Like, I woke up, with it, like, just ripped on there. But I've never, even, like, one time I rolled over and, like, I woke up in the morning on my stomach with my hand literally, like, there. I was like, both my hand and my junk had gone numb at night. I was just like, damn it.
Choked it out.
I choked it out. It's such weird when you like release and then that tingly feeling hits both of them. You're just like,
pins and needles on my schwanz.
Yeah. It's the second most awkward pins and needles feeling ever. The number one worst one is gotta be my fucking taint.
I've had that before. You sit in this chair for too long or something?
I would sit, like, back at my old job, I would sit on the edge of my my forklift, my, like, high-low on the thing, like, waiting for things to happen. And I don't know if it was, like, the angle or something like that, but then I'd go to stand up, and it was, like, that sudden rush. And then I'm just like... Like, from under my ball sack all the way to my asshole is like doing that tingling numb thing. And I'm like, this is so awkward. It's just like you can't stand properly because it's like somehow your equilibrium is like numb now. And I'm just like, is there like a thing in there that's like, this is the proper way? It was so weird though. But yeah, that's the weirdest one. But like, I've never had that issue. I've only ever done that like once, like, probably a handful of times, like, woke up like, damn it, I had started and I was tired and I didn't finish. This is crap.
I don't think that's ever happened to me. The worst thing that happens to me is I'll wake up and, like, go to roll over but not quite realize that I have, you know, just the ragingest, angriest of hard-ons.
I got that mindset like Sean William Scott from Role Models where it's like, hey, do you got any of that, like, the sleepy, like, the ambient stuff or whatever? We're going to take some, and then we're going to try and stay up the longest and then have sex and shit like that. I'm like, I haven't been to bed in 3 days. I could go to sleep right now. My eyes are closing. Wait, no, I need to stay up another 15 minutes and jerk off. Like, and then it's like, no, 3.5 enough to get pants down, hand on cock. Yeah. I'm like, shit.
Now I'll wake up with like the raging, doomful morning heart on, and then roll over to get up and be like, ooh.
This sucks because like I've spent years doing second shift, and now I'm on a first shift schedule.
Oh yeah.
And it doesn't bother me when I'm at work because I'm up moving around. But I've noticed at class where like around 1 o'clock in the afternoon hits, and then all of a sudden I'm like, what the? Oh, damn it! Like
sleepy boner.
Delayed reaction morning wood is like, and I'm like, I'm glad this isn't speech class.
Thank God I don't have to get up and write on the board.
Yeah. Would you like to come up and talk about it to the class? I'd have been like, no, because the class is going to talk about when I get up. I'm good, thanks.
We're going to talk about pitching a tent.
Yeah. I'm in the wilderness program.
Exactly.
This is the proper way you pitch a tent. Is that a 1-person or a 2-person tent?
That's a 6-person tent. What are you talking about?
Shit, 3-room cabin tent.
Oh, God. No matter how many podcasts a week I record, none of them are as fun as this one. And they never, ever will be.
Fuck it, fuckers. You heard that shit. You'll never be as good as me. Ha, ha, ha.
Recording with Michelle and Stephanie is a close second. They were
doesn't have boobs and a vagina.
That is true. They do. I mean, I've heard, What's that phone you say? Someone wants to give me money?
We talk about boobs and vagina, and people are just like, money!
Cha-ching!
Are we on a cam show now? Because that always happens. Somebody says boobs and a vagina on a cam show, and then you just hear money shit happening.
Put them on the glass.
I mean, shit, just put the glass on my face and then put them on the glass. Yeah.
Excellent.
That's true HD.
H-dizzle.
That's the high def right there.
Oh, good Lord. Well, the other thing that we've been doing this week besides podcasting, sculpting, and painting is watching shows.
Oh, yeah.
I just give you a fair warning. We didn't watch Raw or Impact this week. I just all the DC shows were coming back, and I just didn't feel like it, to be honest. It's still on the DVR, and I'll probably skim it at some point or read the results and delete it. I don't know, either one. I'll probably at least watch Impact because I heard Matt Hardy won the title. Oh, so I want to watch that. Yeah, I heard he heel turn too. Yeah. So I'm definitely interested in seeing how that went down. Good news for Impact, though. I did see in a small amount of wrestling news that their viewership went up by like 100,000.
Damn.
Yeah. So like I know like Pop TV opened up in like 11% more markets. And they got like a nice bump. Out of the fact that like people were hearing about the Matt Hardy thing too, and so congratulations to them.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's exciting. But for me, I think the really exciting thing is that Lucha Underground is coming back for like season 2.
Yeah, and also Royal Rumble is Sunday.
Oh shit, it is, isn't it? Hey, guess who doesn't give a fuck? This guy!
I give enough of a fuck to watch it.
I give enough of a fuck because it's one of the big ones.
Yeah.
But I don't give as much of a fuck as I should for a Royal Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
Like...
Well, I definitely agree with that.
There's not enough there.
Yep. So no reviews of Raw or Impact this week, but we do have a lot of shows to talk about.
Yeah.
Starting with Supergirl on Monday.
Supergirl was good.
Supergirl is a very interesting show. Yeah, very thought provoking. Like a lot of stuff I didn't expect to see necessarily.
Supergirl got smart about it. So like they've realized that even just teasing the whole like John Jones thing, and then when they finally like showed him, people went apeshit. Like people like that show just in general, but they love the fact of seeing Martian Manhunter a good Martian Manhunter.
Yeah,
and
fully realized
and everything. And what's cool is they've realized this. They use him, but they do the less is more.
Yeah, absolutely.
They give you just enough to be like, yes, and like satiate that like craving for it. But then they're like, okay, but this is Supergirl's show. Here's the thing.
Exactly.
So, and they open up with a beautiful scene where it was like them two flying.
Mm-hmm.
Like, immediately, like, nuts were busted as soon as you see that. Because it was like full on, you know. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, that was cool. The story was really good. I'd have to say, as far as, like, right now, bad guys on shows.
Max Lord, man.
Max Lord.
Fucking
like,
awesome.
Peter Facinelli, dude, does an amazing job.
Yeah,
as,
he's fantastic.
As Maxwell Lord. Like, I think they need to, like, kind of take a cue from him as far as, like, what you need a bad guy to be right now. You know, as far as, like, the megalomaniacal type thing. Like, not taking away from the bad guys that are on Flash and Arrow, because their bad guys are, you know, damn good in their own right as far as what they're doing and stuff.
Oh, yeah,
but, like,
absolutely.
The Maxwell Lord kind of came out of nowhere, because it was like he was randomly there and you didn't really realize how much he was going to be involved, and then he became like front and center, you know, like the bad guy, and he's doing such a damn good job.
Yeah, absolutely. It's fantastic. Yeah, but I've always been a fan of Peter Facinelli for a long time. He's a very good actor, and he really has he's playing a better Lex Luthor than most Lex Luthors I've seen, and he's not even playing Lex Luthor. Like,
I would have to say, like his run on Maxwell is
right
pretty much where a lot of like the Lex's should have been.
Sorry, guys. I was taking a drink of my juice there, and it went right the fuck up my nose.
Round pipes.
Yeah, he's fantastic. And then just the way that they've done Martian Manhunter. Like, I'm sad that it hasn't been like a fully realized makeup thing yet. Like, that they've done just, you know, the digital version. I understand why, because of the proportioning and stuff. Yeah. But I don't think it would be that difficult to do it as a makeup.
Yeah.
And I think that they could make it look pretty much like it does digitally.
Yeah. I think it could be done. It'd be interesting. I like what they're doing with Supergirl, too, as far as, like, with the... We've talked about this with the Superman, with the whole family thing. Yeah. What's getting interesting now is, like, the Callista Flockhart, the Cat Grant.
Cat Grant, yeah.
I kind of turned a corner on that one, because it was like when the show started, you really wanted to hate her. Like, both the actress and the character. And it's like, she has done a really good job of playing that character. I mean, she's still scary as fuck looking. But
she does the human Scarecrow.
Yeah, but she does a damn good job at that character. And like, and they've done stuff with the character to kind of make you like love hate her.
Oh yeah,
like
for sure.
You're like, yeah, I want to hate her. I it's there.
Oh yeah,
but you're like, she has these flashes of like, God damn it, you're awesome. And they've been doing a really good job. The Jimmy character, I think the Jimmy and Wynn character, like those two are interesting.
Yeah, that was interesting this week because they introduced Toyman. And they had Henry Cerny play him, and I love this guy like from a lot of different shit. Great character actor. First, I have to say before I go any further, I apologize for the way I sound right now because I know I sound really off. It's because I broke a tooth, and on the inside it shredded the living crap out of my tongue, and so my tongue is swollen. So I sound kind of half weird, you know, because of it.
It's not really that.
What?
You're not really opening your mouth that much.
Well, that and, like, I might be having a little recurrence of Bell's palsy.
You're, like, holding your teeth kind of like this.
Yeah, I had Bell's palsy once years ago.
He's getting a touch of the downs.
Stop it. Stress-related.
It's okay.
Stress-related Bell's palsy.
He's got more than a touch of the BDs. No, he's likely to get a touch of the downs.
I hate you. But yeah, so my face is not functioning properly right now, and so I noticed it when I was editing today. Like, was listening back to shows, I'm like, I don't sound like myself. So yeah. If anybody's wondering why I sound slightly off, that's why.
I sound fucking fantastic.
I don't have my normal dulcet tones. Pardon me, but
and he's dying too.
Yeah, no, what? It's the juice that I fucking shot up my nose.
It's in there. It's still lodged in that motherfucker.
That, like, the off-brand Shasta Tahitian treat I got from the dollar store is really doing a number on my...
I like that you got off-brand Tahitian treat.
It's Shasta.
That's why it's...
Served in hospitals everywhere. That's really, like, besides the dollar store, the only place I ever saw Shasta is in the hospital. It seems they must have some sort of like weird exclusive contract with the hospital or something. But anyway, yeah, the Toyman was just really well executed. They used the creepiness of the toys, and they put sort of little nods to other versions of the character, like the version where he's like the wooden kind of creepy marionette version with the from the Super Friends TV cartoon. They did a reference to that. They did a reference to the doll version of him that's in the Justice League cartoon, which I find to be the creepiest version by far.
That doll was fucking creepy.
Oh my god, yeah. And it turns out that her best friend, that Kara's best friend, is his son.
Yeah.
Winslow Schott Jr.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is like, what?
And then going into the story and the dynamic of that was really interesting. Because, his dad is just, randomly went buck, basically. And it scares the shit out of him because he's like, I'm that level of intelligence. Mm-hmm. What happened to make him do that? Because it could make me do that.
Yeah.
And he's, super afraid of that.
Which I would be too.
Yeah, oh yeah. I've seen that trope a lot, and it's a good trope. It's one of those things where it's it's very the sins of the father, don't fall far. And there is a lot of movement as far as story about the whole Wynn's feelings for Kara.
Yeah.
Which that got really interesting. Awkward. Yeah, that got really awkward. And it definitely went to a place that it'll never come back from. That's the thing. I can say that. It's it went to a place and it's there. It'll forever be that. But it also, the same thing happened with Kara's sister and Manhunter.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting too.
Yeah. And nothing, not romantic or anything like that.
Sadly. That'd be awesome.
Awesome. But, she is super hey, you should do this. Hey, you should do this. Hey, you should do this. And guess what? She gets him to do something, and then we find out the consequences of it. Yeah, and it's pretty severe. It's not one of those, oh, it's no big deal. Even as far as it was, in the comics, of the abilities he could do, that was definitely... You're just going back to the well, aren't you?
Shasta Tiki Punch. I'm putting it in a cup this time because I've been drinking out of the 2-liter. Maybe that'll help.
If you hear him gagging, it's he's choked himself with Shasta Tiki Punch.
Shasta Tiki Punch. With a very happy-looking tiki fellow who looks very oddly like a version of the Wahoo guy from Hawaiian Punch. Yeah. Except for he has a tiki mask on.
Pretty much.
Shasta.
Yeah, but it's really interesting, I think, because they kind of sidestepped the Kryptonian thing for a minute and kind of proceeded to.
Which it's good to take a break from that because it's a heavy thing.
Yeah, it's a very so it was really good. There was a lot of revelations, a lot of heavy stuff for it not being one of the main stories, just being a small arc. Basically, it was. I know you love that term.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, story arc. Yeah, it was a very I don't want to say damaging, but it was a very breakthrough as far as pushing past certain things with the story stuff with Jimmy and Lucy. Wynn and Kara, and then John, all kinds of stuff. And it kind of, even at the end of the episode, it's still...
Oh, wow, the end.
Yeah, that ending was interesting.
Oh, shucky darn.
All I'm going to say is, if you think you got a dime on Max Lord, don't think you do. You're wrong. You're just wrong.
If any of you guys are not watching this show because, maybe you saw the first episode and you didn't like it or anything like that, give it another shot.
Yeah.
Because the first episode does not represent the entire thing.
No.
I didn't like the first episode that much.
I didn't mind the first episode, but it was one of those things where it's it's really, difficult, again, especially with the superhero shows. I think, the superhero shows, to really find their footing, you kind of have to give them, the whole first season. You really have to, except for Gotham.
Fuck Gotham and stupid ass.
Yeah, but that's because that thing makes no fucking sense.
Yep.
But It was good. I liked where it went, and I loved the ending. I'm excited for next week's. Oh, especially next week's.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, and we're not going to spoil it for you, but it was pretty damn awesome. It was an interesting revelation.
Yeah.
Then the Flash comes next.
Flash is next.
Flash was a very emotional episode in some respects, especially the end.
Oh yeah.
We got to see a lot of interesting character development with Barry and his girlfriend Patty.
Yeah, that was interesting. A lot of stuff with Zoom, Cisco,
the turtle.
Oh yeah, the turtle. One of the god awfulest characters they've ever had, but interesting. They managed to find a way to make him unique and interesting and stuff. Not look wise though. Oh god, look wise, he still looked like
he was a fat guy in a parka.
He looked like Bruce Willis from But it was like he looked stupid, but I mean he's supposed to look stupid, but his power was very interesting.
He absorbs all the kinetic energy around him and makes it inert, essentially.
Like basically just takes all your
he can move, but everything else is like in a state of dead energy essentially.
And they're like, oh, he's so fast and blah 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 blah, and it's not. It's like basically time's moving at such a slow thing that you're seeing him just at like glimpses.
Yeah,
he's like completely the reverse of Flash.
Yeah. He was really not the focus though of this show. Like, it wasn't that normal your villain of the week sort of focus. It was like he was kind of in the background, and there was focus to it, but most of the focus of the show was more. He was more
just like a moving block. Like he being there moved bigger story.
Yeah, exactly. There was a lot to do with Wally and the relationship between Joe and Wally.
Yeah.
And that was interesting to see. I don't know. I'm not really sold on the guy that's playing Wally yet.
I think they still have to establish who this Wally is.
Yeah.
Though, because this Wally doesn't feel like the traditional Wally. This feels like the new Wally they've had in the comics.
Which I'll grant I don't know much about that version of Wally, but I will say like his acting is very after school specially.
Yeah.
Which is not my thing, but I mean, he could.
It is a very after-school subject, though. Like, that's kind of the shitty thing about it. It is very like you can kind of only do these in so many ways.
Yeah, I get that.
But it's very interesting. I think for me, one of the interesting plot points that's happening is like, okay, Barry, his girl, that's cool. Joe and like Wally's cool, and like Iris and stuff. But I really, Caitlin.
Mm-hmm.
And, God, what's his name? I can't remember his name now. Jay. Yeah. That's what's interesting. I don't know what that is.
A person.
I don't know what that is, Britt.
I don't know what that is, Britt.
But I like their storyline. Their storyline is interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's getting more, I don't want to say complicated, but more complex. Because of some things that were shown in this episode, which I love the guy they got to play Jay Garrick. At first I was very like unsure because there's a very young Jay Garrick, and like traditionally Jay Garrick, is an older guy, except for when he was young in the Golden Age.
Mm-hmm.
But for JSA people, you think to the fatherly Jay Garrick, the fatherly Alan Scott, like these guys that are like the mentors. And it's like he still kind of is, but it's not like the dad way. It's that kind of like older best friend kind of way, or older brother. It's very interesting. But yet he's still going through his struggles of not being able to help Barry in more of a way.
Yeah.
And not having his speed.
Well, there's also like a lot more coming out about the internal issues with him and what the effect of not having his speed is having on him, which is interesting.
Yeah. And then the stuff between Zoom and Wells is really this Wells is very different too. Like, it's great to see Kavanaugh play a completely different version of the same character.
Yeah.
He does an amazing job. They feel like they are two very separate characters.
Yeah, it really shows his versatility as an actor.
So, and it's, again, one of those things. He has made another version of himself you hate to love, but
Yeah.
you love to hate him. He's back and forth. You want to hate him, but you feel for the guy so much.
Absolutely.
You know. I think the Cisco thing has kind of taken a little bit of a backseat. You know, ever since they did the whole hot man, hot girl thing, and that kind of has gone, you know, away. He's kind of his storyline has kind of stepped back, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
To, you know, where he was originally. He still has his abilities and stuff, but it's not. He's kind of come to terms with them. He's still working on it, but he's come to terms with it at least. And it's not actually. It's been a non-point right now. It hasn't, you know, really been brought up. I'd have to say the Turtle was interesting as far as like his motivations. Yeah, that was interesting. Seeing like what his psychosis was. It was pretty twisted as shit. Yes. I'm like, you took a very crap character, gave him a cool power, and made him twisted, and yet still all that, and he was still not like the main villain of the week type thing. Yeah, it was very much he was still, you know, a background bad guy. But it didn't, you know, it wasn't a bad thing.
And, you know, he made it through the episode and stuff, so, you know, and actually, no, that was an interesting thing, too, yeah, the end of it is fantastic.
Yeah, that gets really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And really brutal.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there was Arrow.
Oh, yeah, Arrow. Now, Arrow was interesting, because where Arrow got left off, it was like...
Felicity shot
and stuff like that. Now, we all saw Felicity, you know, is still alive. Mm-hmm. She gets taken to the hospital, and Ollie does what Ollie does best and goes back to that dark place and beats the shit out of just about everyone he can get a hold of to find Damien Dark. Like,
so
I mean,
much ass whippings.
Yeah. Now, he doesn't outright kill anybody, but there's a lot of, like, Batman-esque, I didn't kill them, but I didn't save them type stuff going on. So. You know, that very gray area skewed, did you kill them, did you not kill them, like, type stuff. But he definitely goes back to that darker Ollie where, you know, it's vengeance, not justice, like, type thing. And the interesting thing about it is who gives him shit about it and who goes along with him on it. Like, I can honestly say it was kind of it threw me for a loop. Like, it was a little different.
I can agree with that,
so they're trying to get a hold of Damien Dark so Ollie can beat him within an inch of his life. Yeah. And then that other 2 inches past that. Yeah, excellent. Because it is. He finally gets to that point where this, like, made him realize he's like, you know, or at least he's getting to that point where he's going to realize I got to take Damien, you know, Dark off the board. You know,
it's
like,
no longer like I need to try to skirt around it. So now
he's not one of these like meta guys where you can stop him and stuff. Yeah. Like, Dark is different. Dark has a power and a kind of like, I don't want to say a persuasiveness, but an ability to influence and really get what he wants. And it's like, how are you going to deal with that? It is one of those guys where it's like, I might have to end him. Like, end him.
Oh, yeah.
And that gets really interesting. And while he's on this route to try and find him, a familiar face pops back up.
Yeah.
No, familiar villainous face pops back up in the form of Anarchy. Anarchy shows back up.
Which, again, another example of taking a lame-ass comic villain and turning him into something really cool.
Yeah. Now, I know, like, Anarchy's kind of had, like, a little bit of a following, but as far as, like, people liking the concept of him, but I think up until they did him in the like Arkham games, I didn't think he looked that great. He looked very like
a weird fucked up fireman with a Harlequin mask on or something, or like a Guy Fawkes mask and a fireman's outfit. Like
this one
Anarchy. No, the original one. Like he had that like kind of. Almost like the Psycho Pirates mask a little bit.
And then the very big hat.
Big fireman-looking hat. Like, he looked kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, but then in the Arkham games, they gave him the, like, leather jacket with the hood up, and then he's got, like, the Jabberwocky's white face mask, and he looked very much like the Times, like a youth of the Times type character. And they kind of modernized even that look a little bit with the look he has now in the show.
Yeah, they gave him one of those Guy Fawkes style masks, but it was like a clear one.
Yeah, it was like those clear, creepy, like you could see certain details. It's because his face is
severely burned.
Yeah. Shit. But he is on a like I'm getting dark mission too, because Dark screwed him over and basically gave him up to Arrow. So he goes after Dark, like starts taking out all of his boys, and then is going after high officials. Diggle's having to work on his brother, which that was interesting. That was an interesting plot thing right there. They did a lot with Diggle in this one. Diggle first kind of going to a place that he didn't like, but it was necessary to get information, and because it was Felicity. It was like, and this is where I got surprised, because he went that darker route because it was Felicity. And then the person who I kind of was a little surprised kind of took the bitchy, high horse route. Well, I can't really say I'm too surprised. She kind of does it a lot. Laurel.
I'm not surprised in the least.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I figured because it was Felicity, she might,
No. Trust Laurel to always take the high road and be like all high and mighty and shit.
Yeah.
Even though she, whenever it's convenient, skirts the fucking authority and shit too. So yeah, I hate to say it, but Laurel is often my least favorite character on the show. She is like a level of irritating sometimes that I just cannot hack.
She's not Iris West annoying, but
she's irritating.
She can be, she's irritating enough. Sometimes.
In some of the seasons, I would put her on par with Iris.
Oh yeah, before she was
Canary, she was Iris level of irritating.
Yeah.
But even as Canary, we were talking about this when we were watching. I'll skip ahead a little bit, but we were talking about this when we were watching Legends of Tomorrow. I cannot buy her as Black Canary at all. I've said this before. Like, her fightability is awful. Even as I'm talking as an actor, her fightability is awful.
I think the problem is like they really kind of, it was a good thing and it was a bad thing. You had Sarah first. Mm-hmm. How are you going to top that? Like, yeah, it's cool that Laurel has the neck piece thing and can do the screen, but I mean, Canary's one of the best fighters, in the DC. She's been trained. And she's trained a bunch of people. She is a damn good, hand-to-hand combat fighter. Yeah. But Laurel always will lose to Sarah. Like, Sarah is an amazing... And I don't know, she's just a little bit more of a complex
character. Like, even if you take away, the fact that Sarah was first, she still sucks. Like, I like Katie Cassidy as an actress a lot. Yeah. But she does not grasp fight choreography to me. Like, she tries, she really does try. Yeah. But it looks very staged. Yeah. And it looks very much like she's not hitting anybody.
Yeah.
And the rest of them don't have that issue. Plus, 9 times out of 10, character-wise, she's the shit kicked out of her. Yeah, she's a terrible fighter. Yeah.
I'm like, why do you just have the one nightstick? Why don't you have
fucking nightstick? Yeah.
Why don't you have two?
First of all, why the fuck do you have a nightstick?
Yeah. Dad's a cop. Okay.
Second of all, why do you have one? And third, why do you constantly get your ass handed to you every time there's a fight? Yeah. She gets her ass royally handed to her.
Whooped
by everybody.
Whooped, yeah. It's like, oh, that kind of stuff.
This is just, it's annoying. And then, they put Sarah in the Legend show, and in one scene, you're like, God, you're 1,000 times cooler.
Yeah. But she goes all high and mighty and, basically gets... Ollie wants to use Anarchy to find Dark, and she basically calls in the cops. They arrest him, and this is where things take an interesting turn.
Yeah, because Ollie is not happy about this.
Ollie's not happy, and so he does what he feels he needs to do, which is set Anarchy loose.
Yep.
attacks a police van and sets anarchy loose.
I was like, the chief is not going to lie fire.
Oh, yeah. Needless to say, Laurel... Actually, he didn't even say anything. Laurel was the one that was all fucking like, you bastard, what did you do? And he was like, what the fuck did you do? Like, and she's all like, what? How dare you? And he's like, no, fuck you. You made a choice, so I made a choice in response. Yeah. Like, it was interesting. Needless to say, Ollie's so busy doing this, he's not spending as much time as he really should be with Felicity as she's going through all these surgeries.
Yeah.
But Ollie's emotionally stunted. I don't see how it's a surprise to anybody on this issue. Like, they all kind of sometimes still look at him like, and I'm like, okay, look who Ollie was.
Yeah.
And then Ollie spent 5 years on the island. Yeah. When did Ollie apparently emotionally grow that you people are expecting this? Like,
about never.
Yeah. He went from being a, like, I don't care rich boy to being a cold-hearted, merciless killer. Yeah. Where was the, like, Ollie, where's your sense of, like, big-hearted? He's like, I don't fucking care.
Fuck you.
Yeah. Like,
I'm better served going out here and kicking the shit out of these guys and find out who the fuck did this.
I revert back to the me that is, like, ingrained. It is. It's the program. Yeah. He had to basically get rid of that part of himself. Whatever small part of it he had. It was going from being like a coward party kid to becoming what he is now. Yeah. So that part always kind of, makes me laugh, where they're just all like, Ollie, and I'm like, really?
Really? Are we surprised about this? What? But anyways, why are we surprised about this?
Yeah, why are we surprised? But he ends up, Felicity's not mad at him. She knows how he is, so it's like everybody else is kind of butthurt. She's not.
All the butthurt.
But this is where you find out, like, Felicity, they did all these surgeries, but they couldn't fix it, and apparently she's paralyzed.
Yeah, that's...
from the waist down. And
riff.
There's been a lot of rumors as far as they're going to give her the Oracle mantle.
It's entirely possible. She already basically does that now.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I'm completely okay with this, because Oracle was a brief moment in time for Barbara.
Yeah.
And as much as I like it, Oracle is a mantle that can be given to somebody else.
Yeah.
Like, you can't make somebody else Batgirl. Barbara Gordon is Batgirl.
Yeah.
But you can give Oracle to somebody else.
I agree. It's like they did it on Smallville with Chloe, like, and it worked fine there too. Yeah. Like, she basically already does it anyway.
Yeah, it's the tech support, like the tech support character, Yeah. I mean, kind of even Cisco falls into the Oracle. Like, the combination of Cisco and Caitlin fall under the Oracle-esque, moniker for how they are on Flash.
Yeah.
It's not a so ingrained character, It's...
Yeah.
It was kind of... Like I said, it was a brief moment. It happened. So... The only thing that I thought was weird, I mean, it makes sense, but the whole, like, Anarchy and Speedy thing.
Yeah, I don't really get that myself.
That was weird. I'm sorry. I would have assumed that you setting me on fire and almost killing me, I would be a bad thing, not kind of like, oh,
I'm so into you now.
I'm kind of into you, and like, but he's not like in love with her. It's kind of like, you set me free, so I want to see you set yourself free.
No, I want to set a load free on your face.
Or whatever. It was interesting. Needless to say, Dark's family comes into play.
Yeah.
And shit gets really interesting at the end.
Yeah, definitely.
They had a nice surprise at the end, too, that I was like, whoa, did not see that coming. Like...
I agree with that.
It wasn't a big one, but it was just enough. Like, it was a small little one to kind of be like, oh, damn. Okay. All right. Fair enough. So, Legends.
Yes.
Premiered tonight.
Yes, it did.
Yep. How'd we feel about it?
I'm still
processing.
I like it.
You like it, okay.
Yeah, but I'm still...
You like this, like, as far as, like, for an opening episode, you like this more so than, like, some of the other ones we've seen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, especially considering I think Supergirl's was terrible and Arrows just pissed me off.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I think, too, this also helped, like, okay, I think the reason why Flash and then this one works so well is because they were already pre-established and pre-worked on in Arrow and Flash. Like, Barry was already established in Arrow. We got to see, you know, him worked on enough that it was like, okay. Supergirl and Arrow just basically showed up on the scene type thing. You know, it wasn't, they didn't have that, like, help guiding hand type thing. So it's like,
I agree.
So it's like they kind of have to play around to figure out what works. They found it, which is good. Yeah. But these ones kind of get a little helping hand in the fact that they, you know, were on the series. But the DC Legends of Tomorrow was interesting. I think the beginning all the way till the end was interesting as far as, you know, how things played out.
I was worried, and I won't spoil any of this one really because it just happened tonight. Like, I will say that, like, first of all, it should have been a two-part. It should have been one thing because it's a two-parter, and it should have just been one.
Yeah, like a 2 hour.
Should have been a 2 hour premiere, and like, fuck this part 1, part 2 bullshit. Like, I hate that, to be honest. Like, especially because it's a premiere.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, like, the thing that I was probably worried about the most is that, like, having all these multiple characters, you wouldn't necessarily have time to develop everybody. But I think that so far they're combating that well.
And it was interesting to see what characters kind of interacted the way they did.
Yeah.
Like, characters that you didn't know might have known each other before and, you know, had interactions, and then how they react or what certain characters would do.
Yeah.
I think it was really interesting. I like how they're playing with it. Like, you know, some heroes aren't good necessarily, and some bad guys aren't as bad as we think they are.
Yeah.
And, you know, some things that we thought going into this show are definitely not necessarily what they were.
Yeah. So absolutely. Like, it's hard to talk about it without talking about it, but like, it met expectations.
Oh yeah, definitely. The action sequences were awesome.
They were great,
and they did a really good job with it too. There was a lot of like character stuff though. Like, I would have imagined doing a lot more. I think just be like the premiere, they would have been like heavy action sequences and stuff like that. There was enough action sequences, but there wasn't so much that it just be, you know, it was just a very heavy action episode. It was very much story plot, you know, establishing episode, but gave you enough of what you wanted to see in the beginning, you know, and throughout the episode.
Yeah, definitely.
Which was really good. Especially considering how much, you know, how many people you have, how many of them have powers or things that would require, like, you know, graphics, different thing. I think they did a less is more, but made you think there was more going on too.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot there that they have to deal with, and they did a good job. Like, they did it pretty deftly, which, you know, I appreciate that. So it's definitely something that I'm looking forward to seeing more of.
Oh yeah, definitely. And the story is very interesting.
Yeah.
Like, the story definitely takes a twist that makes it very interesting. There's some revelations that are really interesting.
The actor who plays Rip Hunter, what's his name? Do you remember his name?
Who played Rory?
He played Rory on Doctor Who. But I just made a joke. I'm like, this guy cannot fucking get away from time travel, can he?
No.
Time travel with companions.
But this time he's like the main guy, where he gets to be the badass, you know, time traveler guy. Whereas, like, Rory was a badass at certain points, but there was also times where Rory was just like a bitch. Oh, sorry, did I just hurt some Doctor Who fans' buttholes? I don't care.
And speaking of Doctor Who things, that made me remember that they announced a bunch of guests for Lexington.
Yep.
And of course, we're obviously going to be there because we are every year. But two of the big ones, one of the biggest one for me was probably Brent Spiner, which I'm like super excited about.
Yeah, Data, baby.
Yeah, and then Karen Gilliam, who's from Guardians of the Galaxy, and Doctor Who is also going to be there. And it's a very Doctor Who-ful, you know, thing. Usually, Power Rangers and Doctor Who, you really get a lot of that at Lexington.
Yeah, and that's what it is. It's very much that. You know.
But they announced a bunch of other ones, too. Do you remember some of the other ones? Because there were some good ones in there.
I don't know. There was a lot going on.
Rock and Roll Express is going to be there. Foley, I think they announced, is going to be there, which I'm super excited about.
There's also a decent bit of wrestling going on there, too. But I think that's because Cornette's usually like, hey, I can get you some wrestlers.
Yeah.
You know. Manu Bennett is still
That's
one of
the
the
big
ones
one
I'm
for you,
super
yeah.
excited about. You know, like, yes.
I'm pumped about that one too. Bulk and Skull are going to be there again.
Yeah, we're awesome excited about that. I definitely would love to interview those guys.
Clive Revell, who's the voice of Alfred on Batman the Animated Series, he's also going to be there.
There's a bunch of like voice work people. I think they're still adding more too.
Mm-hmm.
Like the list is still growing, which is really interesting because it's always a very packed con.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I mean,
it's an excellent show every time.
It's interesting because they may not necessarily get as many as big ones as Wizard World gets, but they get way more media talent. But yet you still go and feel like you're at a comic and toy con. Like you don't feel like you're just like, I'm at Wizard World. You know, you feel like, you know, there's all these guys, but, you know, there's just as much cosplay, comic vendors, toy vendors, all kinds of stuff. They're probably going to have the Mandalorian Mercs or the like 501 or.
They announced on the 15th, Walt Goggins is going to be there. If you guys know him, if you're Sons of Anarchy fans or The Shield or Justified.
Or just like Eddie
or the only thing that I ever think of him being is Major League 3.
Yeah.
He's downtown Anderson in Major League 3. The guy who is the voice of Steven Universe, Zach Callis and his little kid. Which I don't care about that.
Yeah, I don't care about that.
Tawny Katane.
Yeah, dude, Tawny Katane. I was like, are you guys going to have the hood of White Snake's car here?
Yeah, I want to cosplay as David Coverdale.
I'm like, you're going to have Tawny Katane and Tiffany.
Yes.
This is like an Tiffany. 80s hard-on, like...
Russell Hodgkinson, who plays Doc on Z Nation, which I'm a huge fan of. Let's see. Robert Gibson and Ricky Morton, the Rock and Roll Express, the oldest men in the world to have mullet.
Yeah.
Let's see. Quite a few Power Rangers folks.
I think there's like a Time Force reunion, actually.
Yeah, the amazing and incomparable Neil Adams is going to be there. Ming Chen and Mike Zapsik from Comic Book Men. Foley we mentioned already. Matthew Wood, who's the voice actor for General Grievous from Star Wars. Let's see. Mark Dodson, who's Salacious Crumb.
Yeah.
Kevin McNally from the Pirates of the Caribbean and Downton Abbey. Let's see. Kalina Smith, who's also on the Z Nation show, which I'm, again, a huge fan of that. Karen Gilliam, which we also said already. Let's see. John Paragon, who is Zombie from Pee-wee's Playhouse, is going to be there.
That's Zombie! So weird. Like, it's awesome, but it's weird. So weird.
Awesome.
Especially considering we just saw that, like, episode of Face Off.
Yeah. Elijah Dushku is going to be there.
Oh, the Dushku.
Dushku.
I got some questions for her.
Yes, as do I.
Some legit questions.
One of the greats of Iron Man, all-time greats of Iron Man, Bob Layton is going to be there. If you read Iron Man in the time when we were kids, you know, it's definitely going to be very geeky for that. Adrienne Wilkinson, who is Xena's daughter on Xena, and she's also a voice actress as well. Mm-hmm. So many people. Like, that's, you know, the tip of the iceberg.
I can't believe they're going to actually have, like, the two guys from VR Troopers.
Yeah.
Like, that's interesting. I was like, VR Troopers? Awesome.
And we do have press passes this year. We are officially pressed.
Press, baby.
So we will do our best to try to get some interviews and snippets and things of such.
That's why I'm saying, like, we need to get on that because I want to see what does a press pass get me. Like,
snippets.
I need to be interviewing some mofo.
Yeah. Well, we're supposed to be getting a package about it and stuff at some point. Yeah. So yeah,
I need to get me some interviews.
Yeah, so we're close to the end, but I want to mention this one last thing before we go. I was on Pop-Up Tea earlier in the week, last week, and they had this they're clearing out their inventory. Yeah. Because they're moving warehouses, and they're having this thing, like, if you pay for the price of one shirt, you get 3 mystery shirts. Yeah. So I was like, all right, I'll give it a gamble. And because, you know, I get a lot of shirts from Pop-Up Tea because they carry big guy sizes and cool shirts and shit. And so I thought I'll give it a shot. But by the time I got to it, all they had was, in my size, was long sleeve shirts. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. I can do long sleeve t-shirts. I like those.
Let's do that.
For $20, I got 3 shirts, which is not bad at all. So we were just making jokes about it the entire time. Like, I know I'm going to get him in all 3 of them to be anime shirts, and I'm going to be like,
Yeah.
hateful and angry shit.
Yeah, like, no.
So they did finally come today.
Yeah.
And it was a meatloaf situation because 2 out of 3 wasn't bad.
2 out of 3 wasn't bad. Like,
I ended up with a really cool looking Game of Thrones shirt. It's like meant to be the Ramones style logo. It says Dragoons.
Yeah.
And it's got like
it's like Dany and all the names of her 3 dragons. It's pretty cool.
Got a cute little dragon in the middle.
So definitely
pretty awesome.
A decent one. This one I think is the win.
My favorite one of the bunch, the best one, it's the Frog Brothers Vampire Hunters shirt from Lost Boys.
That one's awesome.
Definitely wicked. And it's green, which somehow makes it even cooler.
It does. It does. Santa Carla, California. And then 1987.
Yeah. The shitter of the group is I didn't even know what the hell it was. Like, I opened it up and I looked at it and I'm like, this symbol is not recognizable to me at all. It was like a graffitied sort of symbol.
Yeah.
And so I took a picture of it, and big thank you to the Basement Fodder Nation because they answered the question for me. I think Aaron and Laura answered the question. It was actually the symbol for the Dharma Initiative from Lost, which I know nothing about Lost whatsoever.
I know enough about Lost to know that show sucks dick. Like, one of the most convoluted, annoying, unrealistic shows ever. Again, how would a guy that fat stay that fat by the end of that friggin' show?
I agree with this. Like, the fat guy on there, I'm like, okay, he started out fat. That's one thing.
That's fine.
How is he still fat like 8 years later?
How's he still alive? That guy was like the most fucking useless fucking sack of shit on that show. Like, it literally looked like you gave Weird Al Yankovic's hair to fucking Blues Traveler, and he's the most passive-aggressive fucking, like, fat guy ever.
Blues Traveler's not his name.
Yeah.
John Popper.
No, he's Blues Traveler. Who else was in Blues Traveler? Nobody remembers who else was in that thing. It was just a fat guy with a harmonica.
That was like when Stephanie and I were on that panel and they kept calling us the guy kept calling us by our podcast name instead of our actual name. Tell me, Basement Fodder. I'm like, that's not my name.
That's not my name. Hey,
my name is John.
He is Blues Traveler. He's the only consistent person I have ever seen. He's Blues Traveler.
So, yeah, not Dave got a free shirt today out of that.
Yeah, there you go. You like weird shit.
But of all the shit I could have gotten, not bad.
It makes me almost kind of want to do it because I want to see what I can get. Like, because I'm a little bit more tolerant of, like, the stuff because I, do like some anime. So I'm like, I wonder what I would get. Knowing my luck, I'd get 3 shitters, like, hard. Just like,
you get 3 Lost shirts.
I'd burn those motherfuckers. Like,
a Lost shirt, a Vampire Diaries shirt, or something like that. Like,
I don't think it. Oh, God. I'll lose my No, knowing my luck, I get 3 fucking Pokemon shirts.
They do a lot of Pokemon shirts.
I'm pissed. I'd be like, you couldn't give me Zelda? No?
Fuck your Pokemon.
Pokemon? Motherfucker.
Fuck your Pokemans.
Yeah.
Well,
like, I'll kill you! Stupid little rat!
Come to the point in time to show where we shill, or I shill.
You shill.
For everything. So if you like what you heard on Basement Fodder tonight, you can find this show and our other show, The Todd Files, at our brand new website, thebasementofdoom.wordpress.com, and at our network home of digitalnerdage.com. You can find us on social media, on Facebook under Basement Fodder and The Todd Files, and Todd Dave, which we talked about already. And you can also find us on Twitter at Basement Fodder. If you're in the market for a custom action figure, you can find me at Titan Trap Customs on Facebook and at Titan Trap Custom for some reason on Twitter because it fucked it up when I was doing the Twitter account. And also on Instagram as well. Which, no, was it Instagram or is it the other one? What's the other one? Tumblr? No, it's Instagram. I don't know. I'm old, everybody.
I don't know. I'm too busy trolling people on Facebook right now.
Trolling. Yes.
Right.
We're trolling our friend Tabby because she's angry because the snowstorm is not coming and being belligerent. I'm like, you don't have to drive. But whatever.
Yeah. I've used 2 different, things. She was all all about it happening and oh, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, well, I'm just going to go ahead and do the never going to get it.
Never going to get it.
And then she's like, you've been added to the list of screw yous. And I was like, haha, yes, let the butt hurt flow through you. So needless to say, it's going to be a fun time.
So before we go on, I mentioned my favorite meme that I saw this week, and it was from today.
Oh, God.
And it was, there's been a big story this week going around about Walmart closing a lot of stores, 269 stores.
Man.
In the U.S. And the meme that I saw said, Walmart to close 269 stores this year. 14 cashiers lose their jobs.
Oh, it's
so accurate.
It does.
But on that note, this week from the Basement of Doom, I'm Todd.
I'm Dave.
And until next time, the basement door is closed.
Later, bitches.
You're listening to a Basement of Doom production. To find out more about Basement of Doom Productions, check out thebasementofdoom.wordpress.com and digitalnerdage.com.